Everyone should have a hobby.
Well, it's more than a hobby. A hobby's supposed to pass the time, not fill it.
Your time's so empty.
So those were a few clips from last summer, summer of 2020 that is. It was a beautiful holiday and we sailed the south coast of Norway. If you're wondering about the squall on the videos there, they measured 50 knots of wind, and the rain was so severe that we had a lot of water coming in through the raids and into the cabin. So while working in the boat these days, you get a lot of time to think about the plans for next season. And I have two different plans, one depending on how much time I have available. I thought I could share these plans with you. So this trip will be in 3 legs, more or less. Well, that's the plan. I will start off from my home port and then I will sail out the Oslo Fjord. This will be the first leg, which will be about 40 nautical miles. And I thought that I would do the inshore route for the last 10 miles because first of all it's slightly shorter, and second it's a scenic route to put it this way, and it also brings me down to my first stop, which will be Vassar, which is also the place where my pilot station is. And I will have a good rest here and watch the weather forecast before I set off on the second leg, which will take me outside the coastline. The second leg will take me from Vassar and out into the Skagerrak. I'm not sure what the English word for Skagerrak is. It could be Skå, but anyway. So I'll just take her out to the outer Skerries, and then I will go in a straight line, if weather depending, of course, or depending on the wind direction, and all the way down to the south coast of Norway and to the town of Lillesand. I did this of two reasons. First of all, because along the coastline you have the outgoing Baltic current, which runs in a southwesterly direction along the south coast of Norway. And second, because in Lillesand you have the start of Blindleia, which is beautiful. The third leg will bring me from Lillesand and over to Denmark. But first I will motor through this Blindleia, which is an absolute marvel. And there are two good reasons of doing this. First of all is, as I said, it's a very scenic route. Sorry. And second, it's quite narrow here, so you have to motor all the way more or less. And that will provide me with fully charged batteries before I start the crossing over to Denmark. My destination in Denmark will be Thyborøn, which is the western starting point of the famous Limfjorden in Denmark. And the distance is about 95 nautical miles from Lillesand. And again, the reason why I cross over to Denmark in this way is because of currents. As the inbound current to the Baltic runs along the west coast of Denmark, and that keeps me away from this current as long as possible. After a good rest in Thyborøn, the plan is actually to go cruising in small steps, taking my time through Limfjorden. I expect some days on the anchor and some days in marinas, more or less taking it as it comes. Then further on, the plan is to do a visit in Hals on the east coast before I sail over towards Gothenburg, where I will lay up the boat until I have holiday with my kids. And with the kids, I will do the west coast of Sweden up and home. Could be that on the way to Gothenburg, I will visit the islands of Anholt and Läsø, if I got time though. So that's more or less how my cruising plans look at the moment. It could be, if I don't have as much time available as I'm hoping for, it could be that it will be a direct solo sailing from the Oslofjord and down to Skagen, and then maybe Läsø or Anholt before Gothenburg. I'll just have to wait and see how much time I have available. So no long distance sailing anyway, at least if you compare to Erik Andro or Sam Holmes or someone like that. But even though I've been sailing all my life, I've never done any long distance solo sailing. So I found that this was quite a nice way to start off, to put it that way. Well, I had this idea for a while now. It's been spinning around in my brain. As I mentioned earlier, we're mounting a furler for next season, and I have a new Genoa, which is 135% overlapping Genoa. And it's quite well known that the more you furl up the Genoa, the more out of shape it gets. And at the point where you furled it up to more or less a stormjib, it's so well out of shape, and also the center of effort is moved quite high up on the forestay. So I still have my old stormjib, which has hooks on it, like hooks going down the leech. And I thought about selling it, but then I started thinking about how I could utilize this the stormjib even with a furling genoa. And I'm quite aware that you can get stormjibs that you more or less they have more or less like a pocket that you put on the furled genoa, but this takes time, and it's not very how to say, it's not very easy to use especially if you're doing solo sailing. So my idea is that if I keep my stormjib, I can furl up the genoa 100%, and then I can attach the clew with the Dyneema rope, and then I put another Dyneema rope, which is the length of the leech plus the length of the Dyneema rope on the clew, and another 25%, and then it goes back onto the top of the stormjib. The name can't come to my head at the moment. And then if you like, you can put the hooks onto this Dyneema rope here, but of course it's not necessary. And then I'm thinking about attaching a friction ring here and connect that to my spinnaker boom lifter. And then as you tighten this, you will tighten the Dyneema rope, and it becomes more or less like a cutter stay at the same time as you are tensioning the halyard, or this will be like the halyard for the stormjib. So you actually have a cutter stay and a halyard tensioned at the same time. What you can also do is that you can put a line from the friction ring going down and off to the cockpit. If you have to get the stormjib down in a hurry and without risking your life or whatever going on deck, you can just let go of the halyard or the spinnaker lifter, spin boom lifter, and you can pull the line from the cockpit to put the stormjib even on deck. So as I say, this is an idea. I've never tested it in real life, but I think I will do when I got the boat back on the water. So that was just a short video of my cruising plans and my little invention. For sure I will come back to you next season when I've tried this and see how it works out. My next video will be more DIY electronics or electrics to finish that project. So bye for now.